All right, you guys, welcome to our virtual Bible study. I'm so glad you guys are all jumping on. For some of you guys, this might even be your first time doing this, and so I just want to let you guys know it's super casual. We do these every Wednesday at 9 a.m. and there's no structure in any way, shape, or form. We just share how the Lord is speaking to us, maybe some things that we're going through this week, and then we end the last little bit with nutrition and prayer. So I'm going to just dive into, has anybody got this book yet, The 5 Habits of a Woman Who Doesn't Quit? Yeah, oh my gosh. So I am going to be talking a lot about this today. And I actually had a very large recommendation from a lot of coaches about 2 years ago to do this book. And it was funny. I went through like 20,000 photos trying to find the name of this book again, because I was like, this is what I see people doing, especially this time of year. It's just quitting on all the areas of their life and just giving to other people and let everything crumble. So we're going to talk more about that. But I know a lot of us are still doing the 100 Days to Brave and we're doing the Uninvited. So what I want to do is we'll finish this 30 days doing these books, and then we're going to completely just do one book for our new November book, okay? And I honestly want to do, I don't see Laura on here. I want to do Laura's book that she recommended for us, you guys. So I will share more about that down the road because we still have 30 days for that one. So hey, Edwina, welcome. But I want to encourage you guys to dive in and share and speak how the Lord is working through you in this process. And I want to I usually end up reading some things from some of the books. And I actually, I'm going to share a lot, like I said, from the 5 Habits, but I want to do a lot of you guys that have the 100 Days of Brave and you're still working on it. Anybody still working on this book or just doing it, just starting it? Yeah. So don't feel pressure if we're not on the same book. I don't want any of you guys, because I really do believe that this really spoke to me last month, and I actually have a little bit left to read of Uninvited, because I was letting just so many people just come into my soul and my heart and dictate my direction in my life and their thoughts. And I very quickly, this book, and I think every book you get something different from, this biggest takeaway from this book, you guys, is I will wake up in the middle of the night, and I did last night as well, and I just start praying to God, and I just tell him, thank you so much for all of your blessings, good and bad, because there is literally a lesson and something we can learn from all of it. But I never used to, even the small little uninvited thoughts that would come in my head, I didn't always hand all those over to God. And so I think we would wait sometimes for the biggest moment or something larger than, maybe something that's just super little we think. But the devil really tries to come into our heart and our souls with those little things to create these big things. So I want you to be aware that know that those things are not of him. I wanted to read one thing really quick on 100 Days of Brave, actually on page 7. I just wanted to read this as I was flipping through, and I highlight a lot of things on this book. It says, if you and I sat down and you told me your story, I would be able to show you, and I love this, you placed where you made your brave choices, even if you don't label them that way. You've probably already done more than you realize. You are braver than you know. And the little yellow part, it says, I never felt brave, but day after day, I just did the next thing to the next step and said to the next yes. So brave is something that the Lord has instilled in you. And we really have to hand that over to him, and every single day take these actions. I think one of the biggest takeaways since starting this journey and just even running these groups is we have to look at every single day as a new day to grow with him, a new day to grow in our fitness journey, a new day to whatever it is that we need to grow, and not look at the long term, but really focus on the now. If you live in the future or you live in the past, that is the devil trying to dictate you and put those thoughts into your head. He asks you to be right still with him right now. So I want you guys to know that you are brave and that you were created to be that way from him, and it's not an accident. So on 5 Habits of a Woman Who Doesn't Quit, raise a hand. Haven't you guys started listening or reading it? No? Okay. I'm on chapter 2, and I'm actually listening and I'm reading it. But I'm really excited about, so I want to talk a little bit about what to expect in this, because I'm going to actually have you guys do a little homework today from this, okay? This has me really thinking, and I'm still processing what she's actually asking us to do in this first chapter. But she talks a lot about God's refinement and talks about how we need to be refined and we need to figure out these areas that we really can improve. And she tells some amazing stories about how this happened. The book is really about Ruth and the whole story and what Ruth has gone through. And she talks a lot about that, but also uses her own experiences, is what I love. But today I kind of shared in the group, it says, a committed woman learns to choose what she wants most of what she wants now. And one of the things that really spoke to me today, you guys, was sometimes discouragement is brought on by our own decisions of disobedience. So how many of you guys have an area in your life where you know that you need to have refinement in it? Basically, refinement means, I know as they use it, I just want to explain because some people are like, what does that mean? It's basically an area where you're like, you know what, I know I need more structure in this area of my life. And I know that this is the area that I'm constantly slipping in. And it makes you feel like a failure because you don't finish it. Because all of us really do start these things and we don't finish. Did any of you guys, raise your hands, have an area of your life where you feel like you need refinement? Yeah? And that's why I chose this book. Because I really feel like this time of year is the area that we all need major refinement. We really need to all have that structure beyond just getting up, feeding the family, going to work, going to bed, right? So what I want you guys to do right now, go ahead and write down for me. I want all of you guys to start thinking and share in the group, okay? And what I want to do is once one person shares, then the next person put it in the comment area underneath that share. That way they all stay together in the actual life-changing group. So you can make it a picture. You can just type it out. You can make it a graphic. I will probably go on Instagram stories and just type it out. And I'll probably share it publicly as well, because I know that when I share my goals publicly that they will become true. So I encourage you guys to do that as well. But I want you to share one area of your life that you really need refinement in. One area of your life that you are like, every time I start this, I fail. Now, she used an example today when I was listening to chapter 2 about starting this new boot camp. And how, I'm going to share this because I know all of you guys are right here, right now. You're in a new challenge group. You're in this group for the first time, maybe your second or third time, and you're so excited. And everybody's sharing so many amazing things, and they're getting their food prep, they're sharing their meals, they're doing all this, and then guess what happens in 3 weeks? Wah-wah. You're like, oh, I don't want to get out of bed. I'm going to hit snooze. I'm over it. I'm sore. I'm tired. I don't need to press play. I don't need to check in the group. I don't need to share my goals publicly. I'm just going to be a fly on the wall and get on there and occasionally, and maybe I'll work out 2 or 3 times this week if I'm lucky. Anybody else like have that habit where you're just like, you start something and then about 2 or 3 or 4 weeks in, you're just like, it goes shoo. So she talks about this boot camp and how she was so excited to do it, and she was getting such great results and building such great relationships with other women and doing and just having this energy. And then things started getting in the way, like her family, her job, like all these things. And then all of a sudden she started making excuses and hitting snooze, and then telling the people in the boot camps, I couldn't make it because I had this happen. And then she would use all these excuses to create this habit that was not going to refine her for so much more, right? So I want you guys, and the reason I want you to share in the group and be really bold with it, share the one area of refinement in your life where you're like, I will make this different over the next 30 days, and I'm gonna have you guys hold me accountable. And this is the area of my life. And you can share more than one. If you have like 2 or 3, you're like, dude, these 2 or 3 are literally pulling me down right now, and I want these to be refining moments in my life. Okay. And the reason I want you guys to share it out loud, and I want you to, and for those of you who don't, I'm going to call your booties out, because I know if you share it with us, I know it's going to come true. If you're just thinking it right now and you don't share it in the group, guess what? Nobody knows. Nobody saw it. Nobody's holding you accountable. So in 3 or 4 weeks, when you're getting tired and you start having Thanksgiving coming up and you start having parties you're going to, and you make excuses about why you're not getting a 20-minute workout in, right? So I want to share this. This is at the beginning of the book, but I love that our habits, you guys, really do need to be refined towards him and leaning on him in these moments and asking him for help. I've shared many times in the Bible studies, but I remember when we had just lost everything, and I remember really struggling, you guys, getting out of bed. Getting out of bed and just doing the laundry was super difficult. From the moment the alarm went off, all I could do is I literally remember looking at it, the same wall. I know exactly where I was, and I was like, I cannot wait till I set that alarm tonight at 9 p.m. so that way I can go back to bed. And so I want to share this with you guys, as in that moment of the season that I was going through, I was doing a Bible study, and I was struggling with finding time for God. And that's such crappiness. That's just not true. So what I did is the night before, I prayed to God and I said, Lord, will you please wake me up tomorrow so that I can have my quiet time with you before the girls get up, so that I can start my day with you. You guys, I've not always been a morning person. Like waking up 6 a.m. This is 8 years ago. So waking up at 6 a.m. 8 years ago was like, oh my God, that's like the middle of the night, right? Like I was more like 7 a.m. That's really early, right? So he woke me up, and I'm not talking kind of awake, 5 a.m., like bright-eyed, oh my God, get up. And I immediately knew it was him. But in those refining moments of our life, you've got to hand it to him. Ask him to help you through those refining moments. So I want this Bible study to really help you with these habits as we go in the next 30 days and we lean on that. The Brave book, The Uninvited. I want each of you guys to share how the Lord is speaking to you. So I do, only because, and I just want to share this with you guys if anybody's interested in doing it. I do have an Amazon program where I signed up for Audible, where I paid $12 a month. Okay, so I pay $12 a month, and I literally get 2 or 3 Audible books per month, and it's $12 because I literally get credits. So every time you purchase a book, you get a credit. So what I do is every time we do a Bible study, I buy the book on Amazon Prime, of course, so I can highlight it, and then I also buy the Audible as well. And I very, very rarely have to, there's been times I bought 6 books I had to pay for, if you're going to buy that many, yes. But I'll tell you, it's worth it if you guys aren't doing it. I never don't just buy something. But what I do is I buy them on Audible so that way when I'm getting ready in the morning, and I heard this yesterday in one of our groups, and I encourage you to look for the refining moment in your life, in your habits. There's an individual that said that she was really struggling with motivation, and she was really struggling with showing up, and life was just, the kids, the work, all of that. And I brought up Audible and kind of, gave some examples. And her response was, I just don't have time to do that, right? And I don't know if you guys follow me on Instagram stories. I shared a story today. I honestly call bullcrap to anybody that says that they don't have time to fill their mind. Do you want me to tell you why? You have a drive to work. You have a drive to the grocery store. Do you do your laundry? Do you cook? Do you grocery shop? Do you know how many times I put headphones in on my ears and I'm grocery shopping and feeding my mind? So in the mornings when I get ready, you guys, and maybe the mornings aren't the best time for you. You pick the time that's right for you, the drive home from work, your lunch break. You only need 5 minutes. 5 minutes to dictate your motivation. Your motivation is not going to come from eating right or doing the workout. It is going to come from what you're feeding your soul and your mind. So what I do every single morning, and it might be 5 minutes, it might be a full hour. I literally, and my husband knows, he turns the TV down. I cannot stand the TV. And side note, and I will put my my phone next to my makeup with my shake, and I'm putting my makeup on, I'm drinking my shake, and I am listening to whatever Audible I'm listening to. And again, it could be 5 minutes, it could be an hour, but there's these hidden minutes within our day that we can grow. And I encourage you guys to find an area. You're vacuuming, you're waiting for the kids in their school lineup. I don't know y'all, but I know that you will only be the best as your mind is. Okay, it's it. And as much as you will find those days that you're struggling, can I tell you something that's really freaking awesome? It's taken me years to figure out. This didn't happen overnight, but the moment I'm having a poopy pants day, I immediately know Feed the mind, Rhonda. Feed the mind. Feed the mind. I now have that habit to where I literally can tell you I know exactly what to do. Didn't happen overnight, but I want to encourage you guys. Okay? So I want to unmute. I know there's a lot of sharing. I want to share some nutrition at the end of this as well. But I'd love to kind of hear your guys' thoughts on this book, how excited you are, maybe something from something else that you've read, one of these, anything you want to share. Also, if anybody wants to share their habit that they're going to change. That, one thing I want to share really, really quick from this seminar that I did with Shonda this last weekend with all those amazing speakers, something said to me that I will never forget. And I know I've heard it in the past, but it didn't hit me as hard as it did this weekend. Your habits, you guys, are amazing. They're going to make you do the things you want to do, but you know why you do them? And do you know why they're created? So when hard things happen and those storms come, you have a habit to go to. Those habits right now might seem like, for me, these habits are super easy because I've done them for so long. But those habits, when times are tough, are when you're going to lean on them and they're going to help you get through those tough times. And I thought that was so brilliant, as a lot of you guys have been doing this for so long and you're creating this new habit and it's super easy to do, but when times get tough, that habit will dictate if you really, really created a habit, okay? So, all right, you guys go ahead and share. Donna, go ahead, Donna. I want to hear from you, girlfriend. I love hearing from you. You're like my mama, but you just don't know it. My mama, but you just didn't give birth to me.
So a woman who doesn't quit, there's actually a Bible study. So I got the Bible study, but I haven't got the book. It comes today in Amazon.
Oh, I'm so excited. I love it.
I'm going to do that. But on unintentional, I've been listening to the Audible, and I actually, so my thing that my refinement is clutter. I have lived in the same house for 30 years. I keep going around the same mountain over and over again. Now that Megan got married, I just can't stand it. And so I've been actually doing this thing with Instagram. It's called the Minimalist Challenge. So today's like day October 24th. So you throw away 24 things or you give away 24 things.
Love
it's
it.
Totally awesome. It's called Minimalist Challenge. So tomorrow you do 25. The next day you do 26. So November 1st you do 1. And so it's really, really awesome. So I have somebody that at church that is like coaching me through that, and she's making me accountable, and we have a thread and we send a picture to each other every day.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So when we go into New Year's, I have a Bible study that is literally every week we're focusing on a different area of the home. And we do it for the Lord. And that's going to be but I got to tell you, you guys, if you've never done a Bible study like that, it is so inspiring. And then what I have you guys do is I have you share pictures of before and after. And it is so freaking cool. If you're like, oh my God, we get the best ideas from each other. It's always scary sharing that before, though. You're like, don't judge me. Do not judge me.
Don't judge. Yeah. Okay.
Oh my God, Dawn, I love it. I love it. Start early. Get it done now. Okay, that's amazing.
So in Uninvited on page 132, it says, good things are coming. It says, this could be an invitation to live in an expectation of something else. Good things are coming. I know it. Today's disappointment is making room for tomorrow's appointment. Let's look for those good things with great intentionality. Because in order to be intentional, like you have to put one foot in front of another in order to be intentional. Otherwise, people around you, situations will shove you backwards. It's like the tether ball. It literally will like wrap you up, grab a hold of you like a fishing line, like hook you and pull you back. So you have to be intentional. And like uninvited thoughts, like they completely try to sabotage you. So it's like we have to be intentional, take the thought captive, throw it down to the ground and say, nope, that's not how God thinks of me. And speak the word of yourself. So then in 100 Days of Brave, sorry, I got all hyper. 164.
I love that because I think it's like owning those little thoughts that turn into big ones. And I think that book taught me so much about like, God, that little thing that I keep telling myself, really is going to turn into this huge thing, and just handing it over the moment it comes into your head. Not like right then and there. And that for me, when I was going through a hard time a few weeks ago, that was like I had to hand every single second over to him like that. So I love that, Donna.
And then 100 Days to Brave on page 164, like 69 to 79 in here, because I've been listening to Audible and reading it.
Yeah.
It's absolutely awesome. It's all about exercise and stuff. So 164, page 164. In Romans, Paul told us to present our bodies as a living sacrifice, and here is the truth of the matter. If we don't take care of our bodies, we are limiting our ability to do his work. Seriously, if we aren't kind to our bodies, if we aren't treating our bodies well, we're shortening our impact on the planet. Isn't that powerful? We have to have balance. Like literally, you're shortening your days. And God's purpose and plan, you're like robbing the world of your gifts.
Yes. I love that. I love that. And I read one thing super similar in You Are a Badass. She said that our gifts are unique to us. And if we don't own our gifts the way that we were created, that we're actually doing this huge disservice to the world and ourselves, to everybody that loves us, because we're not truly being brave on who we truly are and we're created. We're here for such a short amount of time. It's just, you sit there and you're like, you have that ability. So Donna, I love that. I love that. And she said on that same page, she says, your body was meant to move. It was not meant to be still, you know? And I love that. That is so awesome, Donna. Such a great book. I think like this is even a book that we should give as gifts to people, because every person alive needs to read this book. This one just made me feel like everything was possible, and it's all because of him and his word and what he's promised and already instilled in us that we somehow second guess, right? And then uninvited, just those crappy things that we let in that were just like, what the heck, you know? That's not of God. Karen says we have to have strong bodies and minds to do the work for the Lord. Amen. Amen. And I think you guys are just so freaking amazing that I think some people look at you guys and they're like, how do I get to where you are? But it really does start with this decision and these habits that we create. And I think that once we create these habits, that they do become something that he's instilled in you, and you start believing it and you start faithing it to be it, and you lean to him on those moments instead of it being just all about self. So Donna, thank you so much for sharing. I want to hear anybody else have something they want to share in that area, in any of this.
Of course I want to share.
Yes.
So yesterday I was working out at the gym. I was doing my total body core or something after work. And a gentleman came up to me and said, he's like, wow, that looks really hard. And I was doing abs or whatever at the end. They were doing kind of crossovers. It was the new one, a little bit more obsessed. So anyway, and I told him, yeah. And he said, I don't know if I'm going to get there. It's like, I said, but here's the thing that you have to remember. You're looking at me going from my day, my year, whatever, and you're maybe just starting out and wanting to lose weight. I said, the transformation happens up here first, and it happens one day at a time. Just like when you climb a mountain, it's step by step by step by step. You can't expect to be at the top of the mountain in 5 minutes. Your transformation and everything, if it's what you're feeding in your mind and what you're putting in your mouth, is all of the work for the most part. This is 10% of what you're doing and your results. But when you switch that mindset and knowing that God is first and he will enable you to do the things that you're wanting to do, then you just have to follow your one step at a time. Just transform your mind and your body at the same point. And he was like, oh yeah, I never thought about that.
So crazy. It's so crazy. So I love that, Karen. I think 4 years ago, I helped a young girl. She's so amazing. And it was right when, I think it was 3 years ago. So when Hammer and Chisel first came out, like it was the very first run of it. And she lost 15 pounds, dropped 3% body fat, and she went from looking great to freaking ripped. And she sent me an email and she told me how much she still hated herself. And she told me how she just was so disappointed that she knew she could have done better. And I was just like, oh, immediately in that moment, from then on is when I'm like, I am incorporating major personal development in our groups, because it is the vital process for us to get great results. because it really is what's going to get you there. It's not the other thing. So Karen, I love that. And it's hard for people to understand that, you know, that.
Well, and if you think about it, many people that are like morbidly obese, they have underlying thoughts in their head, or I don't want to say mental issues, because we all have mental issues.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean? Like, the problem is never the problem. So people either eat for comfort, they eat for security, they eat for, you know, whatever it is. And they're eating or overeating because of an underlying issue. It's not just because they love food and want to eat. It's something always deeper than that.
Absolutely. It is. And it's scary to face that. So Karen, thank you so much for sharing. So I really want you guys to think about this, you know, as we go through this redefining moment that you want to hand over to God, that you're really struggling with right now, because just taking one area of your life and shifting it and recommitting that can make such a huge, profound impact on your future, and just being aware of it. You know, I'm thinking of mine. You know, it's so funny, is all these habits like reading during my shape, you know, working out, all those things are pretty, like, they're part of my life. But there's little areas of my life that I'm ashamed of. And I don't know if that's like a great thing to say, but like, you know, I shared a post yesterday, the day before, on Instagram, and my girls are super close in age. They're 20 months apart, and they're just going through this stage in their life where they are just super mean at each other, and they're, you know, teenager, and, you know, and so it's just been really difficult to, you know, not yell and like be upset constantly, because they're just so dramatic. Oh my God. I knew God. Karen, you shared this once. I'm saying this out loud. Karen said once, I knew the Lord gave me boys because I couldn't handle the girl thing. Karen, I prayed to God I'd get boys. I said, Lord, I can't handle this girl crap. I know you're giving me boys. And he laughed and said, here's 2 girls. It is actually, I literally, before kids, I was like, I hope I get boys, because I don't want to deal with all this crappy girl things, you know? But anyways, I have to laugh. I love having girls, but it's just kind of funny. I'm like, here I go, right? So I know that might be one of my refining moments, of just having patience through all of that and sitting down with them and really having them look to the Lord in those moments, which might be really hard for them to do, but I want us to do it together as a family. One of my other redefinement moments that I really want to recommit to, and so I'm kind of sharing this so you guys can think outside of the box. Some of you guys, it might be fitness, it might be food, it might be reading the books, those things that my habits actually are okay on. But one other one that really is tearing at my heart, and I shared over the weekend on stories, is we're members of an amazing church, and I absolutely love the church. The pastor is phenomenal. I don't love the children's program, and so we haven't been super committed to constantly going. And so I'm actually that mom that's going to go to church on Saturday with my daughter, and I'm going to take her in, and I'm going to sit down with a counselor or something and say, how can both my daughters go to this class? Because they have them all separated all throughout the week, different days. So we're constantly at church. It's like kind of weird. And so I pray that she's only 6 months from being from this certain age group. 6 months. I'm like, sure. And it's redefining us not going there, or maybe we're supposed to find a new church. So we'll see how that happens. I have always found churches where the children's program was phenomenal, and then ours maybe wasn't as much, and I was okay with that because my kids were getting fed really great and I was going to do these. This is the first time it's been reversed, where I'm a little bit not super happy fancy on the kids thing, and the adults one is amazing. So those are 2 areas of my life that I really want to get better refinement on, is just biting my tongue. And she talked today a little bit about on how, you know, we start changing the words that come out of our mouth, our heart starts changing, right? And I know I talk about this quite a bit because I do believe that our changes start from our tongues and our eyes, and then it transitions into our heart. And then that's how we can make this transition, is we stop speaking it, we stop seeing it and we put it here first, right? So anybody else, I want to read what Donna wrote. Donna said, Megan, so the 100 Days of Brave gave it to another teacher at her job, and they read it every day before they work with their kids with disabilities daily. I love that. Megan stepped out of her comfort zone and gave it to the teacher, who now shares the group daily. That is so amazing. You guys, we can share his word everywhere. That is so amazing. Girls are interested, find their 5 love languages and ask God to help you love them. There is the 5 love languages for kids. I love, love, love. Or teenagers to read also. Sadie, I need to do that. So you know what's funny, Donna? I think I'm ready for that now, and I think I wasn't before. And you can unmute yourself and let me know. For some reason, everybody was telling me like the love languages in children aren't really established till they're 10, 11, and 12. Is that true? Like, I read that, somebody said that once, or I read that somewhere, and I was like, oh, well, I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? No? So they were saying that they have to read a certain age before, so they're love. So, you know, we all have love languages. I have 1, words of affirmation. And that kids have like multiple ones, and they don't actually pick one until they're probably as old as my oldest daughter, I'm assuming. Can't remember.
No, it's because if you think about it, like mine is like giving gifts, but then not everybody else is receiving gifts, because then some people have a hard time receiving gifts. But it changes through your lifespan as far as your 5 love languages, because there's your primary and your secondary. But literally, the author of 5 love languages, there is a book for teens, because they need to both read it and figure out how to love each other. And then Sadie Roberts from Duck Dynasty has phenomenal books for young people. Oh my gosh, you should totally get them. In fact,
okay,
I have one here. Oh, you will love it. I was going to tell you guys.
Shoot me a DM or share it in the group.
What? Okay. And then I went to a trauma conference this week, and I have to give 5 love languages to one of the girls, because she is like an atheist. And I shared a room with her for 2 days. And she went to Rainbow Mountain. She's 32 years old, and she climbed all the way to the top. It's like 18,000 feet, and she thought she was going to die because she had to take Diamox, that's so that she don't get confusion and all kinds of stuff, because she wasn't prepared. And I prayed for her every day, and I told her, I didn't look at your Facebook post because I was praying for you every day. And all of a sudden, the Holy Spirit said, you need to share with her the climb, like Hannah Montana's song, The Climb.
Yes.
So when she gets in the car, I kept telling her, you're so brave, you're so brave. I said to her, I don't know. I said, I know you don't believe God speaks to you, but God speaks to you all the time. I said, I don't know what this means to you, but do you know, have you ever heard this song, The Climb by Hannah Montana? And she's by Miley Cyrus. She just looked at me, her eyes got huge like this. She goes, when I got to the top of Rainbow Mountain, she goes, I couldn't feel my fingers. I couldn't feel my toes. The cloud was over Rainbow Mountain, and I waited there 5 minutes freezing. And then all of a sudden in my brain comes Miley Cyrus, The Climb.
Oh,
there's always going to be another mountain. So I was like, oh my gosh, I have to get the book. I told her before I was going to give her the 100 Days of Brave. So I'm totally going to give it.
Okay, I love that, because you know that God did that. Like, that is not something that just happens. That is so amazing. Oh my gosh, I love that. That is so, so cool, Donna. Definitely, you'll have to share with us how it goes. That is so cool. It's such a gift. You guys, we have such a gift to share, and he wants us to share and have other people see the Lord through us, right? Have any of you guys ever, I know I feel like I always say the same stories, but I think it's on this. Oh, right there. Live fearless. I love it. You'll have to share that in the group. I want to share that book and just say like how it spoke to you, so other people that aren't on the call can see that. I love that. Have you guys ever walked in a room and you saw a lady or somebody, it didn't have to be a lady, that you just were like, wow, what does she have? She is just shining bright, and she is just like life. Like, you can see it. Anybody else ever experienced that? I have one woman in particular, and it was like 20 years ago, but I will never forget that defining moment where I was like, I want what she has. she had the Lord so heavily in her life. And I've never forgot that moment. I was super young. I think I got, oh my God, I was with 4 kids. But I remember seeing her and just being like, I don't know what she has, but I need that in my life. And it was just, she was shining with the Lord. So use these Bible studies and let them be your gift to the world. Anybody else want to share anything really quick? And then I'll kind of dive into the nutrition part of stuff as well. Anybody want to share anything else? Samantha, it's so great to have you on here. I know you're working hard over there, and Edwina as well. I love it. Okay, so I'm going to dive into, there was some questions brought up in the group, and it's funny, as we go through the group, I share so much more in depth about this. And please watch the groups, for I share some YouTube videos that really do go into exactly what I'm going to say. But I don't usually give the information in the first week of us going through a challenge group, because we're still just trying to learn the process. But I'm going to actually break this down so easily for you that you are going to see a completely difference when it comes to food and nutrition. I think we get overwhelmed with what to eat and why. And so I'm going to share a little bit about why you would eat certain carbs versus other proteins, okay? Or proteins and carbs, okay? But what I want you to know is the Shred Plan is designed for you to live and follow it on a daily basis, because I know that you're still gonna have cake, you're still gonna have pizza, you're still gonna have those other things. So a lot of people kind of ask, like, with the Shred Plan, how consistent should I stay with that? I'm like, well, stay consistent, but I do need you to also make sure that you're slightly changing things, because your body is so smart, it's going to figure out what you're sticking in. This is why it's interesting. Anybody else, as I've gotten older, beef is hard on my stomach. It is super hard on my digestive system, but I love it. Like, if there was no other protein I ate, it would be a cow every day. Like, I just love beef. I love hamburgers. I love steak. I love fajitas. Like, I just, give me a cow and I'll be happy, right? But my body just doesn't process it really, really well. And it just is harder for your body to break it down. So I'm going to actually talk a little bit about this. First, I'm going to start with carbs, okay? So in the group today, I shared some really simple carbs. Donna, you were asking about some crackers, and I grabbed the 3 that I kind of always have those 3 like in my house. They're not really my daily go-to, but when life gets busy, it's like, let me grab 2 crackers and there's my yellow carb, right? Like, I don't overthink it. I'm not always going to be perfect, but I want to talk about why some are going to work better. So I want you to think about your food. And I know this is like, you guys have heard this before, but where did it come from? Did your food need sunlight or water, or was it created in a factory? So if your food was created in a factory, your body is going to process it so much slower. It's not bad, but your body will not break it down like a normal food that was created with water and sunshine. That is why, like, a sweet potato and a potato are some of the best carbs. Can you always have them? No, but they are the best because your body goes, bam, I know what this is, and they're going to work really hard, and they are going to move through your body faster than any other carbs, okay? That is why with the Shred Plan, that's why those are on there, and that's why you don't see crackers, rice, all of those things. But I want to talk about when you would have those, okay? So I want to talk about the rule of thumb. So the best carbs are potatoes and sweet potatoes because they move through your body very quickly, and they were designed to do that naturally. Cavemen ate them. That's how great they are. Rice and quinoa. I want to talk about these 2 right now. So quinoa is the next one, not rice. Quinoa will move quicker through your body than rice. But here's when I do these, okay? Say that, let's just call it what it is. Say that you went over on carbs the night before because you had 3 glasses of wine and you're a little hungover. Me. Oh my God. I don't drink 3 glasses of wine, y'all. I do not. I looked at my husband this morning. I was like, who was I last night? That's like, 3 glasses of wine is like an accident ready to happen. I could have 3 Tito's and I'm fine, but wine it's just not the same. So, and let's just say that was your only carb for the day. That means today, like, if that were my only carb yesterday, which it wasn't, I would have probably a more substantial carb today because my muscles need it. But what I want to tell you guys is your carbs can be used to fuel your body based off the workout that you did. And I hope I don't lose you guys on this, but let's say, for instance, the workout that you're doing at home or at the gym or whatever you're doing is a lot of lower body. Your lower body is the largest muscle group in your entire body, okay? It makes you exhausted quicker. It is going to wear you out quicker. You're going to need a nap really quick because when you use your butt, it is the largest muscle in your body. It needs to be fed more. So on those days, like if I do, like for instance, Body Beast legs, I'm going to have a carb, you guys. And you'll notice this. I need you to hear this. If you don't eat a carb like this on those days, you're going to be really crabby the next day. So I want you to pay attention to on those days where maybe you did too much, or you did leg day, or you did back day. Your back is a very large muscle group. Those are the only 2 days I really would do it. You can have rice or quinoa or some crackers, because what those carbs are going to do is they're going to move slower through your body because your body doesn't know what they are. They were created in a factory and they're going to break down slower throughout your body. So think about it. If you did leg day and you're just so exhausted and use the largest muscle group in your body, why the heck would you not have quinoa or rice or something so that you're actually feeding it, so that you're actually moving slower through your body? So as you get sore, that, you know, just a couple hours after working out, you're being fed a carb that's going slow so that way your booty can be recovered, right? So quinoa is slower than rice. Rice is slower. Rice is faster than quinoa. And then the crackers are, I have no idea. I actually don't know I would assume that they'd be super similar to rice. But you want to use those on the shred plan when you need them. I want you to live your life. There's times for me, I will notice my muscles look really flat, or I just, I've been eating really super clean. And I'm like, I got to eat some more rice because they're going to fuel your muscle. Okay. So does everybody understand the carb before I go to protein? I want you guys to unmute your line if you have any questions. Donna, is brown rice or white rice you want to know this, Donna? White rice is actually better. I actually think it's freaking hilarious that people put such a substantial amount on brown rice when the nutrition is actually better in the white. I worked with nutritionists, and when I was working with them, they were just kind of like, yeah, it's just kind of, it's the fad that everybody are doing. Is that it's really, really close, but if you really want the best, it's going to be white. I'll be honest, I buy both. I really do. I love, you guys, if you're not doing it, I love the gluten-free frozen rice from Whole Foods or Trader Joe's. The only ingredient is rice. I don't eat a lot of rice in my family. My family actually loves noodles more than rice. So what I do is I keep those in the freezer, and they come in these individual packets, and I will warm them up in the microwave with a little bit of grass-fed butter, and literally I have my carb in 2 seconds, and it's amazing. So when they are gluten-free, you can buy them gluten-free or non-gluten-free. They're really, really good. Let's see, my great aunt is like that. So I want you guys to don't be so clean on the potato and the sweet potato. Yes, they're going to give you, if you're trying to lose weight, you probably want to lean more towards the carb that's going to process quicker. If you are just really struggling with being sore after leg day, look at the carb you're having, okay? Look at it, because it's going to help your body recover. Carbs give your body energy. Protein builds muscle. Do you know that your body does not naturally produce protein? So you don't naturally build muscle unless you're actually putting the protein in. So I want to talk a little bit, and you guys can feel free to ask any questions along the way. I know it's a lot of science behind it, but protein. Obviously, let's talk about this. If somebody's trying to build muscle and they're super lean and they want to build, I'm going to throw a little bit more beef into their diet than just fish. Fish is so thin and flaky, so your body is going to process it like that, okay? Versus a steak or ground beef or hamburgers, your body is going to process that slower. So it's going to stay in your body longer, right? Instead of metabolizing it quite as quickly. Here's what I need you to do. I need you guys to eat it all. But based off your goal, I need you to focus more on one versus the other, okay? Chicken is all around just good for everybody. As long as you are doing, it's great to build muscle. It's also great to stay lean. It is one of those that just makes everybody happy. Just make sure when you purchase it that you're looking at any extra ingredients that might be in it. I will not purchase chicken if it has over 70 milligrams of sodium. They do inject it to give it flavor. So I look at the sodium content, and I'll share a video on this in the groups, but I kind of go, okay, this is 110 milligrams of sodium and it is just a chicken breast. What are they sticking in there, right? It shouldn't be that way. They do it so it lasts fresh and it stays longer, but to a certain degree, you shouldn't have to have more than 50 to 70. Let's see, Erica, I love carbs. I always have to tell people carbs are not bad. They're not. It's funny, you guys, if you are really struggling with staying focused and you're really struggling with getting results, I want you to look at what carb you're eating. I know that sounds crazy, and here's the thing I always get questions on is, I really, really do. I'm not perfect, but I work on getting my carbs in very early in the day. That is when I'm most active. So when I'm most active is when I'm actually going to focus on getting those carbs in, because I'm going to burn them like that. Okay. Versus in the evening. Some of you guys asked a question about this, and I want to share this. So anybody in here done Body Beast legs? Okay. When you do it, anybody like dying at the end of the day? You're just like, this sucks. Like, I like want nice legs, but like, Chiggy, you're beep, 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 right? So here's what you can do. On leg day, you can put one of your carbs, and I actually recommend it. So putting it at the end of the day. Couple things it's going to do. It's going to help you sleep better, and it's going to help repair those muscles while you sleep with that carb. It is the only time that I will do a carb at night, unless I'm just having a great time with the hubby and I'm like, whoop, this day goes out the window, right? It happens. It's going to happen. So all the other times, I really do try to get it in when I'm most active. But remember, my most active time is not going to be the same as your active time. So I want you guys to look at your days and when that is, okay? Turkey is great, Donna. Turkey is phenomenal. Turkey, a lot of you guys were asking about lunch meat. So I get our lunch meat at the deli. You want to get Boarhead's lunch meat. It is gluten-free, and there's not a lot of fillers in it. I do get the low sodium one because they tend to have a lot more sodium. And let's just keep it real. Life gets busy. I need a fourth protein, or I need one. I'm going to grab 6 pieces of lunch meat, and it's going to be the Boarhead's lunch meat. And I always get turkey. So know that that's always an option. Is it the best? No, but God, it's a heck of a lot better than a Carl's Jr. burger, right? So cut yourself some slack in those areas. But anybody else have any questions on this? I had questions on proteins versus carbs, and it really does determine what is your goal. Are you really trying to get leaner? Then you're going to focus on these foods that came from the ground. Are you trying to, I've got some people that are really lean, like they're super, like they are already at their weight goal, but they want to build more muscle and they're really struggling building muscle. I'm going to have them add one more protein to their day. And I'm going to make sure that they're adding beef a little bit more times per week than I am, or having chicken and still fish, but maybe not as much, right? Pumpkin is, what is it? It's a veggie, right? Now it is a carb. So this is a funny one. I got so many messages from you guys on Instagram stories. I was like, laughing about berries. Yeah, go ahead.
I watched like multiple videos from Autumn on pumpkin because the girl loves pumpkin.
Yeah.
So fresh cubed pumpkin, not pureed, is a green. If it's pureed at all, if it's mashed, even if it's 100% pure pumpkin, it's a purple. It's still a veggie, but it's a purple because of how it's processed.
Yes.
And so she added it, like you get less of purple than you do of green. And so you would want, basically it would kind of equal out. So you would want, one less fruit to kind of balance out the carb.
It makes sense. Erica, thank you so much for sharing that, because I actually don't use pumpkin in my family at all. I know that sounds weird, but nobody likes it but me. So I buy the Pumpkin Flavor God seasonings and I add it to my shakes. But literally, Erica, thank you so much, because there were some questions brought up this week about salsa and spaghetti sauce. And same thing. If you had a tomato, right, it would be a green. But because of the way it's processed for salsa, it's going to be a purple. Same thing with spaghetti sauce. It'll be a purple because there's so much more that can fit into the container. So yeah.
Now I did listen on both Joel and Autumn on the salsa and the spaghetti sauce. If you make your own and you measure out the ingredients before, it's a green.
Okay, Green if you make it fresh.
If you make it fresh and like you put the ingredients in the green and then you make it, if that makes sense.
Totally makes sense. And if you guys I love to make pico de gallo. So like if I make pico de gallo, that would be a green versus a purple for like the cans of salsa at the store. Yeah. Erica, thank you. Thank you so much. I think this.
Sorry, I'm like a
I
video
love it.
research and nutrition person.
You know what's so great is like, it sounds crazy, but all of these little things really do make a huge difference, because all of a sudden before you know it, you could have gone over on, 2 fruits for the day because you had all the salsa and spaghetti sauce, so we don't know, right? So you definitely, that knowledge is power in knowing how the body's going to process it, because it's not going to process a tomato the same way it is salsa, even though they're the same thing. So yeah, thank you so much, Erica. Let's see. Karen, technically tomatoes are fruits anyways because of their, right? And isn't it too, I think an avocado is even a fruit because it has a seed, right? And I'm just like, whatever, give me all the avocados. But I hope this helps you guys. I want you to know it gets easier over time. It gets easier over time, but you don't have to be perfect to go through this process. What's really, really cool is to watch so many of you guys go through 30 days and literally still get great results. I want to raise a hand, just real quick. One last thing I want to bring up, because Erica, you brought this up and I thought it was so great, and I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about this. Any of you guys struggle with being hungry ever? Raise your hands if you do. Okay, so if you struggle with being hungry, here's what I want you to do. And then if you still struggle, of course, tag me. I want to look at your activities and different things. So sometimes us doing so much, it really does put us in a whole nother category for food, which means then now we have to eat a lot more. So if you're working out more than the program, then there will be where you'll bump up a whole category where you would add another protein, another veggie, and a carb, if you're doing literally a whole nother workout as well. Now, if you are just struggling with hunger in general, and maybe you went for a walk and maybe you did your workout, or just there's certain days you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm super extra hungry, you can always overeat veggies. Don't ever even think about, like, if you want to eat 6 veggies a day, which if you do, you're a rock star. I don't even know how you're doing it. But, and then and then we all need to share our food babies after we have 6 cups of veggies, because you'll look like you're 9 months pregnant, but the next day it'll be gone because all the fiber. But you can also have another protein. So I was telling one of our people today in the group, she goes, okay, Rhonda, what do I do at night when I just want a treat? And I'm okay having another protein, but like, I don't want to eat like carrots and hummus. And I was like, okay. So I want to kind of share, there was 2 things I told her, and she was like, okay, I can handle that. So literally the 2 go-tos for me, because I know fruit at night is not always ideal. I'm going to have celery with the protein peanut butter, and I might add a little bit of maple syrup if I want something sweeter, like literally a dab, right? It's already sweet enough, but you're going to have the coconut oil from the protein peanut butter and the protein. So having a good fat and a protein in the evening is going to help you keep fuller longer, and it's going to help your cravings. It's also going to help you build muscle while you sleep. So there's so many benefits to having the good fat with the protein in the evening. The other thing, once a month, all of us ladies, I have a really hard time. Like, people ask me a lot of times, like, how many times a month do you have a Reese's peanut butter cup, or the Reese's or the Shakeology balls? And I go through phases. I think there's seasons where I kind of go crazy, and I will tell you, most of the time it's in the summer, because I'm running with the kids and I am just like, I need something quick. So I tend to use them actually a lot more in the summer. But around that special time that Eve was so great to bless us with, I will literally plan my whole week, and I'll make the Reese's peanut butter cups, and I will have them in my freezer. It will always put me over on a red. I don't even care. It's like not going to do anything bad for you, okay? So it has the coconut oil, and it has the protein, so it's going to help my muscles recover, curb my cravings, and I'm going to have it with a glass of wine, and it's going to be freaking like dessert. So I want you guys to know those are 2 that I really do go to. The other one, I'm just going to keep it real. My husband loves popcorn, so we'll have popcorn. Sometimes you can have 3 cups of popcorn that actually equals a serving. So if you're really struggling and you want a treat, but you don't want like a guilty one, you can have 3 cups of popcorn that actually does count as a carb. Now that's just if you need something and you want that crunch, you can totally do that. So those are some things that I do. And I love, like Erica shared a Reese's peanut butter cup with raspberries in them. You guys, there's so many different things you can do. I want you guys to share if you make them differently. There's been so many things. There's been blueberries I've seen in them. I love to add carob chips to mine. So I'll go into Whole Foods, you guys, and they have 2 different types of carob chips. They have one where I don't know the answer to, and then they have the one that I buy. There's one that is 64% carob chips. And then the other one, I think it's like 25. It's a lot lower. So carob is basically they're using more Hershey's powder and less sugar. Okay. So I buy the carob chips in the container at Whole Foods, and I fill that baby up, and it's 64% carob. I'll grab 10 or 12, put them in my Reese's peanut butter cups, gives me a little crunch in the middle of that peanut butter cup, and it is so good. So any of you guys, and another little key thing I do, you guys, I actually don't use my teaspoons very often. I know that's crazy. I figure I go over sometimes I go under. If I'm really struggling, I'll grab a spoonful of peanut butter, put 6 or 7 or 8 carob chips, or just dip the whole thing on there, and I'll have a Reese's peanut butter cup on a spoon. That's a really great treat to have that I don't feel guilty about that. I'm like, it's carob chips and a spoonful of peanut butter. And then it's like having a Reese's. So those are some things, like if I'm really struggling in the evening, or I just need a little something to get by, they're so easy to do. Anybody have any questions at all? Melissa says, I had to add more healthy fats into my day. I can't do grains, and I was always hungry. Yeah, good fats keep you fuller longer. So I love that, Melissa. I have an avocado every day, and I use coconut oil every single day. And those 2 things are really, really going to help. So if you guys cook with that, or making the protein peanut butter using the coconut oil, all those things are going to help you to stay fuller longer. The good fat is so essential, you guys, too, in dropping body fat. It is so, so essential. Donna says, do that at work at 8 p.m. since I got home at 2 a.m. Yes. Yeah. Like all those little things. I just look at literally, I stay away from fruit. I'm actually not a huge fruit person, so I don't have an issue with it though. And then all the rest, just kind of wing it and figure it out along the way. You're going to find what's going to get your cravings. For me, it's the Reese's peanut butter cups work every single time. So I love you guys. I think that we're about an hour in. You guys are awesome. I just want to thank you guys all for all the shares. And then we'll end in prayer. And I want somebody like right away, because I'll do this afternoon. I want one of you guys to share something, like a graphic or something, or even a post that says, hey, from the Bible study today, we chatted about sharing a refining moment in our life that we're going to be creating better habits for. Here are my 2 or 3, or here's my 1. My 2, you heard mine. I might add more. I'm actually still thinking about it, but those are the 2 that I'm just really disappointed in right now. And I want to be able to make those better. So, and I know that if I share them with you guys, then y'all are watching. So anyways, all right, let's end in prayer. Dear Lord, thank you so much for this amazing platform that every single week we can just slow down and literally put all of our focus on you, Lord, and chat together and grow as empowering women to honor you more, Lord. I pray, Lord, that you will protect everybody in Texas right now with all of the flooding and stuff, as I know it's just so much dramatic things going on there, Lord. I just hope that you will protect all of them as they go through that. Lord, I pray, I know that you know the desires of every single person's heart in this group. I know that every single one of us are going through a trial and tribulation. Lord, if you could be that tap on their shoulder this week and just remind them that in every minute, every uninvited thought that comes into their head, Lord, that you are right there to hand that mountain over to you. Lord, I pray and I instill that you will instill on their hearts today and this week one area of their life that they will hand over to you and have that refining moment, Lord. Just inspire and empower other people by leaning on you in that moment, Lord, that they will share that in the group and they will let it empower them to finish whatever it is that they have that they want to redefine. Thank you, Lord, for loving us no matter what. As we fail you every day, Lord, I pray that we just become a little bit more like you every single day, Jesus. In your precious name, amen. All right, you guys, have an amazing day. I'm excited to see what you guys share. I'm excited to see what you share because it's really got me thinking. And you know what's really I'm excited about is I already told my husband about it. I already told him about the 2 areas. He's out of town this weekend, and he's like, "You're going to go to church without me?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "I'm not waiting. I'm not waiting. I made the decision, and I want to redefine this moment, and I made the decision now. So I'm going to go figure this out, and I pray that they'll let both my daughters go together, and we'll figure it out. But I encourage you guys to put it out now and start today. Don't wait. This is your sign. This is him telling you that you are literally going to create these habits and you're not going to quit. So I love you guys. Have an amazing day. Bye, everybody.